Okay, we are recording. So, in the past, we have talked about, a lot of different things, like how to find people to play with, and we've talked about how to maximize our potential in a band. But this time, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go into the step in between, which is first encounter with new band or musician. Once you've made that connection and getting started at the first encounter or the audition, it's called different things. And I ask questions, and I'm starting to get a little response, which is good. But this is one of the things that comes up: is what kinds of things should I do to get ready when I am getting prepared to meet a new band or a musician for the first time. And now that you know, today is the 19th of February 2022, and March 2020, we began with the COVID stuff, and so everything's kind of been at a standstill. But now that things are seeming to begin opening up, we're going to be finding that people are going to want to connect again with musicians, and we're kind of going to be starting all over in a way. So, you know, that's the first thing, is that, we know now that we're getting ready to do these things. So, knowing this, then, you recall that in one of my other videos, as part of our intro here, to find a musician is not real hard. You can look in the classifieds in your local newspaper or Penny Saver, which are free. You can go on Craigslist and musicians for your area. Music shops. Your local music shop is a great place to go connect with musicians. You can oftentimes find them there and meet with them firsthand, or look at little wanted poster things put up for musicians that they're seeking. If you're a churchgoer, most churches have some kind of a music group, a band that plays for the worship team. If you're younger, there's probably people in the youth group that play instruments that would be into playing various styles. But you can find people fairly easily going to open mic nights. I didn't put in my notes, but that's a really cool way to find people. So, now that you've done this, you've called or whatever, and you've set up your first encounter, your first meeting with the people. What do you have to do? And that's what we're going to look at today. Yeah, one of the things that you're going to want to do in preparation is to find out, where. I guess we would probably put this under our steps, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the 5 steps now. I have 5 things that you should do to look for when you're getting ready to meet the people for the first time. Okay, the first thing is you want to find out everything you can about the person that you're going to jam with, or the band. And a lot of them have profiles on any number of the social media platforms that you can look at. There's such, like Reverb Nation will have samples a lot of times. Facebook will have their samples of their playing. A lot of times they'll upload things. You can find out where they've been, what kinds of things they're into, personalities, who they associate with, stuff like that. Got my notes here, sorry. And you'll see why in a minute. But so there's really no reason that you can't find people online anymore. The next thing is that I say is to be respectful when you show up. And I put this one thing under the tidbits, which is number 5. But number 2 is be respectful. The thing that I put later on, which I'm just going to stick here because is, don't trash other musicians or badmouth other musicians, even if you're right and there was some kind of bad experience with them. First, you don't know who these people know. It could be a close relative or something, and you whatever. But don't badmouth. It also makes you look kind of bad. Like, what are they going to be saying about me when they're not with me? So it just doesn't look good, and it gets you off kind of on the wrong foot. Um, and so the third, then, we're going to jump down to is to be prepared. Um, you want to be prepared, obviously, for anything you do. Um, you don't want to be trying out new gear. Uh, you don't want to try out new gear. You don't want to put brand new strings or heads on your guitar or drums. Um, when you show up is not the time to warm up or break in a new piece of equipment. Strings will not sound good, or heads, when you first start to play on them, and it will affect the way that you sound and the way that you play. Um, so you want to be careful with that. Uh, Obviously, show up on time. Punctuality is good, and I want to put this under. I had it under tidbits as well, so we'll talk about that in a bit. Um, I put down here also in preparation is to, there's things that you have to kind of expect that you're going to be asked, and there's obvious common questions that people ask, like when did you begin playing? Who, like a band or an artist that got you into playing and really influenced you early on? Or are you related to any musicians? Do you have musicians in the family or associations with musicians? Um, what got you into playing your instrument? And, how long have you been playing? Do you read music? And if not, do you write lyrics, or do you write like tab or read tab, or can you play? We may want you to be able to write in to original material with us. So there's that. You know, do you have any formal training in music? Like, have you been to school? Um, how much training have you had? And if not, that's fine. No big deal. Just things that are cool to add when you meet with people. Um, are you willing to travel? Can you travel? Because we like to go and do shows in different places, maybe. Um, what do you like? You can add a little for fun kind of things too. Like, what do you like most about being a musician? Um, is there any kind of music you don't like? Um, are you willing to do things that are not conventional gigs, like weddings or parties? Uh, let's see, I said about music that you don't like. Is there a particular song um, that grabs you when you hear it inside, like, emotionally? Um, there's a guy who refused to use the word cry, but a friend of mine was a hardcore metal musician, great musician, and his song was, that got him was Unbreak My Heart, believe it or not. And so that was kind of funny, but I mean, obviously, you don't want to laugh at somebody. But at the same time, it's like, it's interesting stuff to know, just to know how people think and feel and things like that. So, but is there any kind of music you absolutely don't like? And is there one that you absolutely do like that's like your favorite kind of music? Um, and then, fourthly, it's good to have a current resume. Have some kind of outline of your experience, if you've had past experiences and what kind. You know, I mean, obviously include on that like your education and things like that. Bands that you played in, do you give lessons? Um, People you studied with, if not, the gear you use. I mean, there's a lot of different templates that you can find online for the musician resume. It's pretty similar to a regular resume, but have a current one. And if you have a sample, if you've recorded it all, or you have a video of a professional or of a gig from the past, have a piece of music that you can leave with the resume with them. Um, because that's always good. And then they can think about it later. You know, the initial encounter, everybody's kind of psyched up and whatever. So this way they can have something of yours later on when you leave to think about. And they may be going through potential people and trying to decide on a particular person. So, and then last we come to the tidbits, which includes such things as showing up on time. Do your best to look the part for who you're trying out for. You don't have to go over the top and make it like Halloween or whatever, but generally people do look the part if they like a particular kind of music. They typically dress in a way, and you know, they look the part of what kind of music they're into. Um, so you know, and maybe sometimes if you're unsure about where the place is that you're going to be meeting, maybe you know, plan it out with like GPS or something, and maybe go by there or drive around a little bit to get familiar with the area, so that you're guaranteed to be on time the first time. Um, what else did I want to put on here? But yeah, you know, really just you're making a first impression. You don't want to you don't want to be arrogant and off-putting, but you want to be confident to let them know, like, yes, you're into this. You're definitely going to give it your all, and you know what you're doing. You're not somebody who just bought a guitar yesterday and decided they want to be um, Zakk Wylde or Kirk Hammett like today. So let them know that you've got some experience and that you've put effort into it. It's one of the few types of jobs where you brand, so to speak, and you kind of have to sell yourself without having an ego or uh, just without having an inflated ego and an attitude and arrogance. Um, you know, you don't want to put out there more than what you are, but at the same time, it's hard because you do have to sell yourself in this business. So be ready to sell yourself, I guess I would say. But just be a decent person. It's the first time you'll ever see these people. And, you know, you don't have to necessarily go by the first interview or the first people you meet. There's no law saying you have to play with these people. If you have any reservations, or even if you don't, try out for more than one thing if you have the opportunity. Because, first off, with that, you may have, if the bands don't mind that you have different, now some bands want you to be exclusive, but if the band doesn't mind you having another gig, you can play with others and have twice the income. Or, you know, maybe this band falls through, but you're on good terms with somebody else. And if you don't go with somebody, call them, let them know, like right now, something came up that you're going to jump on, but you were really interested and really enjoyed meeting with them and you like their sound and whatever. Could I give you a call in the future? Most of the time they'll say yes. So let's say your guitarist falls out and you need one in a pinch. Well, now you've got these other contacts. So you have that. You can build connections that way. But it's okay to take, you know, time and try out for different gigs to see where you think you feel most at home. And it's a good idea to do that if you have more than one opportunity. But when you go, they need to know that they can count on you. One of the things in the music business is that you can't really count on people a lot, unfortunately. They may be gung-ho at the beginning, but they kind of, what I call, flake out. And it just, I don't know. They have to know that you're in it, and you're in it 100%, and you're going to give it your all for the long haul. The only time that you will not be there is if the band should dissolve as a unit, as a whole, for some reason. So they need to know that. They need to know that they can count on you, they can trust you, and that you show that you're really into what you're doing, so that you will be there for them in the long haul. I was just looking over here, and a couple questions that I was thinking too, going back, those questions that I asked before in number 3, they're things to prepare ahead of time answers to, so that you're ready. There's a couple more, and this kind of comes up, is what is the best way, how would you deal with any kind of conflict in the band? Somebody writes something that you don't really like, or just doesn't sound right, and so there's no bad blood. How do you deal with any conflicts that come along? Or another one would be, what would be the greatest piece of advice that you would give or message to a fan? And I say that because, even at the local level, when I was playing with a band in St. Louis for one short tour, very short tour, but it was cool. It was over summer. But it amazed me how much that the fans out there were for the local bands. It was like Celebrityville. We got backstage and there was a line of people waiting. So that's really cool. So what would be something that you would convey to them if you had one thing to tell them and leave with them? So those are pretty cool. And I think that's about everything then. But I'm sure you guys can think of more questions and more things to add to the list. I wanted to keep it kind of concise. Obviously, I can't put everything in every video, so we can always come back around. But what would be some things that you would put in this list for that first encounter? Obviously, to a point, it's going to depend on whether you know the person or you don't beforehand. That you guys know each other from being musicians. If you're a brand new musician versus a seasoned musician. So, there's different things that can go into making this list, but that said, feel free to leave comments below, and please do. I will respond with you. My throat is still sore, so I'm sucking on this thing, but so leave comments. I'll answer. If you have ideas for other topics that you would like discussed, or more of any particular thing dug into a little deeper, let me know. If you've enjoyed this video or any of my videos, I'm going to be doing another playthrough for you guys today, so be watching for that. But trying to grow here, so like any videos and share them. Help me to reach more people. I can't do any of this stuff without you. I see progress a little at a time is going. I like that. Progress moving forward is always good. Getting some interaction. Glad for that. I would love more subscribers. Please help get me subscribers. Subscribe yourself if you haven't yet. And like any videos and share them. Outside of that, we'll be back later for a playthrough, Watch for My Bass playthrough video. And then beyond that, I'll see you Wednesday. Have a great rest of the weekend. God bless you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.